It can't stop the day we dissect the news. Flipping on the edge, choices to choose. Politics and laughter, a blend that's so real. Tune in for the stories that make you feel. With guests from every angle, let's bridge the divide. Finding the truth in the humor we can't hide.
The director of the Harry Potter movies did a good job of that. Because some of those I could not see Diagon Alley. I couldn't see it until they had it in the film. And then when you go to Universal and you
actually
in
do see
Diagon Alley, you're like,
was it surreal? Tell me, was surreal?
Have you been to Universal?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, it was
the one in Florida, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's you walk in there and you're like, holy shit, this is incredible.
There are very few moments where I was in awe.
Mm-hmm.
And when I got to, but mind you, I couldn't stand the concept of Harry Potter. The whole, I don't know why I kind of looked at it as somehow, just because they were kind of released roughly around the same time with Lord of the Rings. I somehow, I was more of a Lord of the Rings fan.
Guy. Yeah.
And it's kind of funny, not the books, just the movies. And same thing with Harry Potter. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not going to read the books, nor will I see the movies. Yeah. But then I got introduced to them, and I'm sorry, they won me over. I fell in love.
Yeah.
To me, they are the quintessential viewing of every fall. Period. The end.
No, J.K. Rowling has created a world that is just
magnificent.
Yeah, when you read the books later, and it's a middle school teacher. I got into obviously
totally.
with kids, and I was kind of like at first like that too, like, oh boy, another goofy kids book, and then about 3 pages in, I'm like,
wait a minute,
this is pretty good. And then by the end of the book, I'm like, oh, this is pretty good writing. And then the next book, even better. And then the third book, even better. And then the fourth book, that one convinced me, the Goblet of Fire book. That was the one that for Rowling, like I felt like, wow, you are writing at such a level that like you're world building in a way that is just, you can feel the characters, you're with them and stuff. I feel very strongly like by that last couple of books, so I felt that she kind of peaked, and those last couple of ones I could almost sense maybe like there were ghostwriters. Probably not. Maybe she was just tired or something. But those last couple of the Deathly Hallows ones, she's there, but there's some other stuff going on. I'm like, who wrote this? There's a couple pages and chapters. I'm like, is this like an intern that she has with her that put this one together, or
no? I don't think so. Did she
just kind of force it out or something? I don't know. It just didn't have the same flow through The Prisoner of Azkaban, and so I just didn't quite have the same. The movies had more of a continuity to me.
Well, having not read the books, I cannot comment on that. But I will say one thing. To me, it felt like she was attempting to tie all those loose ends. And she was more consciously processing, am I thinking of everything, rather than I'm more in the imaginative world where I get to just create things. Now I have to go back and tie it all up and make sure that it makes sense. Yeah. And at that point, she's no longer in my opinion, she's no longer operating at the subconscious level where she gets to imagine, gets to have a lot of fun. It's more at the conscious level. Well, I got to make sure that this applies to this and this explains this. Yeah. And it made it more, what's the word I'm looking for? Made it more sterile.
It feels more, it feels more stilted,
subject oriented,
stilted towards, like you feel like you're watching the
documentary. Here's how we got to this point.
It's certainly not as bad as the J.R. Martin, the
GOT.
The Game of Thrones, where it's just such an amazing series, and then that last season, you're like, what in the...
It's so funny because I watched the first 3 seasons, I think.
What the hell was that? Like, I just wasted 7 seasons of my life to watch
that's rough.
An 8th season that just took a shit.
That's rough.
That 8th season was just... everything from, and I've gotten into an argument with a fellow friend I have, and she loves
love it.
season 8 because but I was like, come on, they just changed the character of the mother dragons, and they were killing off characters to just kill them off, and it was like, oh god, this is, and then
This is garbage.
And at the end, she destroys like this King's Landing city. With her
Spoiler
dragon.
alert.
Sorry if you haven't seen it, but she just lays waste to this thing, and you're like, that wouldn't have been Daenerys at all. She didn't. She's the measured one in the entire series. She's the one that could lay waste to this, but is very measured and
Well, it depends.
thoughtful in her application of justice. But I don't know. I guess she goes crazy because she loses her other dragon. I don't know.
Or power corrupts, and absolute power corrupts absolutely.
I guess. Yeah, I guess. I mean, that could be it. But then the juxtaposition of that is that there's another character in this who's the queen of the King's Landing there. Cersei, I think is her name. That woman, she should have gotten an Oscar if she didn't get one, because she plays maybe one of the greatest female villains in history. She is so fucking evil. Oh my God. She is just...
Didn't she orchestrate the Red Wedding?
She's the one who like has an affair with her own brother. Blah! Blah!
Oh, the Lannisters.
The Lannisters. And just does everything in her power just for naked power. She is a true fascist. She would be like a true fascist. Like, your own death doesn't even matter. Just as so long as it was in the pursuit of power. Everything is just a constant, whatever it takes to hold on to and you know, power is like water, right? It's like you take a bucket full and it's gone before you know it, and you try to grab it with your hands and right through the hands. It's you might as well try to own the sky. I mean, power. Michael Focault talks about that stuff too. He has an entire writing about this stuff. He's a famous sociologist. But in that series, you know, you could take so many different lessons from it, and it just, that last season just shits the bed.
That's rough.
It is. Yeah. Oh God, it led up to this. Boo.
You're like, nope, never watching that again.
And like, I guess it's because I'm spoiled, because in my mind, I compare it to like the Lord of the Rings series and how that just peaks with the Return of the King. Like, that's just a peak. Yeah. You know, those battles and the lessons and the ring finally going into the...
Spoiler alert again.
Alert, sorry. The ring finally getting into Mordor with, of course, Gollum... One of the original, you know, of course he'd be the one.
Which, by the way, that one really pains me, because because Samwise and his actions, instead of showing empathy, you know, we talked about this actually one of the first episodes that we did of the Prime Directive.
Yeah.
We talked about empathy, and we talked about how empathy in the right moment can influence or change someone's entire perspective, because we were talking about
your life outcome
and
your life outcome.
That's kind of because Gollum wanted nothing more than redemption for what he had done.
Yeah, he's a moral creature who you couldn't stop his immorality.
Correct, but then when he was finally shown a glimpse of empathy, he was going through the process of redemption until he wasn't. Because again, it also kind of shows that interesting process, because Sam didn't trust him. Yeah. And through that, he destroyed the potential for having an incredible ally. Someone who was Gollum would have lost his life to save all of them. All three of them. But due to the fact that he was pushed away, it just further reaffirmed that, and that's why, you know, you have the conversation where he's talking to himself, right?
Yep, the Ring of Power.
Yeah, and he's like, you know what, this is
my precious.
Yep,
the Ring of Power. What a great series to teach the fallacy of power, right? What that whole series is all about.
power.
It's and it's fleeting. You can be Sauron. You can be Morgoth, who comes before that one. He's even more powerful than Sauron. That he was in the earlier series and stuff. Okay. But you can be all these. You can search for it your entire life, and it doesn't mean anything. It gives you momentary whatever. In the moment, you might have power over life and death over some people, but then it ultimately no. It's it. And to me, Gollum is almost like a drug addicted creature. The way he looks, the way he acts, biting off the finger just to get the last thing, and then not even worried about your own death as you're falling into the lava. You got what he wanted. He got what he wanted, which is the Ring of Power and a release from the torment of the Ring of Power. He actually got what he wanted. So I'm not sad when he dies. I'm actually kind of like, yeah, that's a conclusion. It is a conclusion. But
I'm still kind of looking at that and thinking, talking about empathy. I wonder if Sam had shown more empathy to him in those pivotal moments, especially as you get into the second and the third book.
Yeah,
and if that would have turned him around, because he was already showing so much interest in helping the cause, right?
Yeah, I mean, he already killed it. It was his brother, right? Didn't he kill his own brother?
I don't know. Was it his brother or like a friend?
His best friend.
It was his best friend. Yeah, they were out fishing.
He drowned him. I think he drowned him. So, God, that was creepy. So anyway, Lord of the Rings, that's Jackson, right? Peter Jackson.
Jackson.
Definitely worth doing. All the Star Wars series. I'm a Star Wars junkie. I've just been working on the latest one, that Andor and whatnot. It has a very
You are way more of a Star Wars fan than I am. Like the first three movies, actually. See, that's the funny part. I'm a big fan of the first three movies. Heaven forbid I say anything positive about episode one.
About episode one.
Everyone is going. Now we thought that we're going to keep this on the DL, this entire channel. Now that I said episode one is a worthy movie of seeing, people are going to lose their little kitty minds. Which, by the way, can I just point out how sad it is how the real person was treated, the young man who portrayed Anakin, how poorly he was treated by the fans, and how vindictive these grown children literally brought this person on the brink of basically, just a incredibly difficult state of mind.
Yeah, it's a shame.
Wow.
I know fans can lose control sometimes. They can lose themselves especially the fantasy world, because maybe it's a reflection that they don't have any control in their life. I don't know. Star Wars, very interesting world. Very, very interesting. George Lucas. We talked earlier about one of our episodes about the hero's journey and Joseph Campbell and all that stuff. And that's the journey that Star Wars follows so beautifully and brilliantly in most of its writing. The universe has expanded so big now that Star Wars is almost... It's a thing of its own. It's an entire universe. It's you can't even speak about it it's like Greek myth. It's like saying the Greek myths. Like, what do you focus on? Perseus? Do you focus on
in his story?
Theseus? Do you focus on Hercules? Which one do who do you go with? And it's just so vast. That's like Star Wars to me. Star Trek has definitely influenced me over the years. Gene Roddenberry, I can certainly appreciate everything he's done.
It's almost like somebody would, have a podcast called the Prime Directive,
and try to use that as their catchphrase, even though it has nothing to do with it. Right?
Yeah, we have nothing to do with
nothing.
It. Officially,
nothing to do with it. But we sincerely appreciate Gene Roddenberry and his estate and everything else, and his vision for science fiction, just about a world of an optimistic view of of our
Instead
future.
of Lord of the Flies.
Yeah, right. To me, Star Trek is very utopian, even when it's not, even when it's tragic and stuff. It's got a very, we're in this together. We're marching towards a better
Progress.
We're marching
Yep.
towards a better humanity and stuff like that. Star Wars is just so vast. You can have entire worlds that have nothing to do with humans.
But
and-
it's interesting though, isn't it? Because we talked about how movies, TV shows are prolific. It's fascinating, isn't it, when you kind of look at the the original series of Star Trek, how it did in fact push social boundaries.
Yep. For African Americans, Uhura was the first black actress, I think, to ever be on a television series. Right? Wasn't she the first?
It's actually taking.
Shocking. It just world was a different place back then. I guess. I hope.
But that's the thing, though, isn't it? Isn't it just a wonderful thing that we can actually use art, we can use film, we can use acting to better the world that we want to actually live in?
Yeah, and that's the call. That would be a prime directive. A prime directive would be to use the beauty and the aesthetics around you to, in your dreams, to create a better world. Right, and those dreams can take form and shape through movie, music, whatever it is, logic, university, whatever it is. That's why we always feature the heroes of higher ed stuff here too, because these are people that have followed their dreams. There was something in the pursuit of knowledge that was just so worthy, right, of pursuits, that they're creating a better world, right? That's what we're on. That's why I have such hope. I know we're in a kind of a dark time right now in American history. We're going through a growing spurt. We're going through a growing phase right now. The teenage
Transformational.
the teenage goofy ass years, right? Of like, we're leaving behind maybe those goofy ass teenage years that we thought you know it all, you think you're this, but in fact you're not. You're that. You're something different. And America's going through it. We're going through a generational metamorphosis. I don't want to, some people cut America short, then think like we can't come back from the doldrums that we're going through right now. I would, I don't know. There's something in the American character that has created all these movies, right? If you think about,
By the way, do you know what movie I'm thinking of as soon as you said that about a comeback? I'm thinking about Rocky.
Rocky, yeah, sure.
You can be on the ground, beat up, but you will stand up again.
And think about it. That movie wouldn't work if it was like a French boxer. It
actually it wouldn't.
Right? It doesn't work.
No. Although to be fair, it is based on a real American Italian.
Yeah. Was it Rocky Marciano? Or
Rocky
something?
Marciano.
Rocky Marciano. Yeah. So, that movie, and so many comeback movies, they just don't work unless it's America. Isn't that funny? We're such a strange paradox of a society. I mean, we really are that. J.K. Rowling becomes a billionaire not because of her British audience. It's because of her American one.
Correct.
It's America that makes her that connection, and then that explodes across the world, right?
Yeah. And then the theme parks are located in America.
In America. It's just, there's something about us. I don't know. Not all of us, because boy, there's some knuckleheads out there, but still, there's something very interesting about this country and its dreams and its and maybe it's illusions in some cases, but certainly it's hope, it's promise, it's the inscription on the Statue of Liberty, right? The Colossus, right? The new Colossus,
which by the way was given to us by
the French. Yeah, they could see that we were the new Colossus. That's very fitting, right? We're I wouldn't cut our country off, even though we've got beyond highly questionable people making decisions in this moment. But you're
right. There is something beautiful about it, though.
It is, and I'll quote the Bible. heaven forbid, this too shall pass. And it will, man. Every person who thinks they're going to cling to power, the ring of power, whether they be the color orange or they be whatever, it's an illusion. And they'll learn. They'll see. I love this line in the Doctor Strange movies. That I love that line. The bill always comes due. It does. It did for Mussolini. It did for Hitler. It did for it has for even some of the worst. The dictators in history. They think they get away with it. Idi Amin, for example, thinks he gets away with something, right? Going to Africa, or I think he ends up in Saudi Arabia. But the life of having to be on the run for the rest of your life and going mad, and no, it's fleeting. Much better to live a Prime Directive life, a life towards the light, right? A life towards turn away from the shadows, go towards truth. That was Elena's great message. Dr. Svetaeva's a great message last week or the week before. It was honesty. Just even if it's painful. Honesty is just cleansing and authentic and all of it. That's what great art in the great scientific movies that we're talking about, the sci-fi, they tap into some kind of a realism, even though they're not. They let you feel moments of truth and possibility of what could be a truth that could be out there that you get to touch.
Or at least they raise the questions about those dilemmas of how do you face certain things that could potentially become inevitable. I mean, look at the whole storyline of Blade Runner, which we are. I don't think we're that far away from it.
My favorite movie. That's my. I was going to get to that one last.
Which, by the way, talking about music. Yeah. Vangelis. Yeah,
truly astonishing piece of art in that soundtrack that he created, and then re-recorded again, and that was good too. That was another level. No, I agree. So for me, that I was going to bring that up here last, but yeah, Blade Runner is you have to experience it, and you need to experience it in a theater. Like, I don't think a regular.
Do you think that the size of the screen basically immerses you more into the film? That's why there is some magic going to the cinema instead of doing what I feel like a lot of people do is just like, oh well, I got a big screen TV. Yeah. You do, and it's certainly impressive, and it's a wonderful viewing experience. But it's not the same as actually feeling the music.
No, that opening scene of Blade Runner. I'm in the theater. My dad is there. He's gone to get some popcorn and stuff. And that opening scene comes up. I think it was like 81 or 2. I forget when it was released. But that thing came up and you're like...
82.
You're in... This is the future.
This is the world. You're in it.
I'm in the... This is the future. The smokestacks belching up the factory stuff. But then just you're going into the Tyrell Corporation and stuff.
And the noir feel with the rain,
the smoke, the noir, the soundtrack,
the neon lights.
You're like, I just stepped 50 to 100 years into the future.
Did you feel disappointed when you got out of the movie theater and you looked around? You're like, you've got to be kidding me! This is not where I belong.
Yeah, you don't. Again, the movie operates on so many different levels, right? On the one level, it's the Philip K. Dick. What a name. Philip K. Dick.
But he's on the appropriate show called The Prime Directive.
Yes, he is, the Prime Directive. No, but his writing, but then redreamed through Ridley Scott's mind, because that guy's a genius, too. And then to end up with that on the screen with those actors, and Rutger Hauer gives a performance there that's probably the best of his career. You can't even. There are so many things operating at so many levels in that movie.
So about
human nature, society, what it means to be. Are we free? Are we ever free? What makes us human? It's such a philosophical movie that you just. Again, it's an experience. The best movies give you an experience. That's why some of the like other sci-fi is so like Transformers movies, completely forgettable. Like one blurs into another. It's just noise and mindless.
It's
violence
cool in
and stuff.
terms of the
Gadgets
text
that
and
are-
but where's the substance? So the question I have is, were you in love with Rachel?
Yeah, no. So Rachel is the first. Yes and no. The realization that she's a synthetic, right, is like you're kind of like, oh yeah, that tracks, But then to ask yourself, what is worth falling in love with, and what makes our hearts go towards another replicant person? Replicant? I don't know.
You almost went there.
Right?
You almost went there.
Yeah, it's very interesting. I think I probably still would have, and because she plays such as that's probably her best role she ever did too, Sean Young. But yeah, she's just what an amazing, just everything. The script, the smoke, it's not too long, it's not too short of a movie. It's got metaphor. There's some in the director's editions. There's a couple dream sequences of a unicorn and the dove at the end with Rutger Hauer. Just the origami pieces and their representations, what's the actor? Forgetting his name. Ramos.
Yeah,
I forgot his name. How could I forget his name? I apologize. I'll remember it and put it in the comments. It's not Edward James Olmos, is that it? No.
No.
No. I'll remember. But anyway, just everything that it says about the value of life, friendships. What does it mean to live this life? How long have I got? What do you do when you're in a moral conundrum of choosing the system versus your own ethics? It just operates on so many levels,
Yeah.
And I just, that one is, you've got to watch it again, and then you got to digest it, and then you got to watch it again, you got to digest it, you got to watch it again, and digest it. Yeah. Every time I watch that movie, I see something else that I was like, oh yeah, I forgot about that. I forgot about this. So, there's some other great, I'm glad they're redoing the Dune series, the new Dune series. I think.
It's funny. I have not even seen the original.
You're not missing anything. You could probably skip it.
Okay.
It's a little on the goofy side. It feels like a 1980s version of what's supposed to be a futurism. The new Dune is you get this is it. This is exactly the world that was being set up in these books. Mm-hmm. And what it just says. And in this world, like with the Foundation as well, Isaac Asimov stuff, mm-hmm. but Foundation, you're doing epochs of time where they're storytelling, but they're storytelling over thousands of years kind of a thing, which is really cool. That's a cool thing to do, because then you see, it gives you a sense of historical perspective that not a lot of movies do, right? You're just in the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's just kind of like instant moments. Mm-hmm. The Dune series spans, and Foundation does as well on Apple TV. It spans thousands, and the Foundation series, hundreds of thousands of years of human existence and stuff, and what we go through, how we ebb and flow through time and space. Great stuff. Just sci-fi is definitely where I think I am. I will watch even bad sci-fi. I'll watch it.
Okay, I do have to say, what are your thoughts on The Fifth Element?
I like Fifth Element.
I am a big fan.
I did not think I would like Bruce Willis. I did not think I'd like him, but there's something about his just
nihilistic
flat affect or whatever that he has in that.
Yes,
it just works.
It's perfect.
It just works. And then Mila Jovovich.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah, she gives this fantastic, maybe the best performance in her career too. Where I couldn't agree more. She gives this great performance as just this sensitive,
all-conquering
How would you describe her?
She's almost like a deity.
She's like a deity, but she's not. But she's
like a demigod.
But then she's vulnerable, and then it's a good movie. It operates on a lot of levels too, and it works.
Yeah,
it's got some slapstick humor and some ridiculousness, and
Chris Tucker,
Gary Oldman gives a great performance as a bad guy,
incredible, and of course Sir Ian Holm. A incredible actor from the Alien series, making his return in a great sci-fi film with a lot of comedic elements.
Slaps him on the back when he's choking to death on cherries. One little cherry. Yeah,
priceless, absolutely priceless. And Chris Tucker, his performance, absolutely phenomenal. I think that movie launched his career as this incredibly engaging, incredibly energetic character actor, and that's what really I think that's what really allowed him to just springboard into phenomenal comedy action with the Rush Hour series, which was a huge success. But no, that movie is just off the charts.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's good. It's definitely it just and
it's a feel-good movie.
It is. You watch it and you're like, oh, I could see this again, and I could see this again, and then it comes on TV and I'm like, oh, I can see this again.
Yes.
And you're not like like any of those.
You're not dreading it.
Any of those Transformer ones I was telling you about, just utterly forget. Like, can we change the channel?
I was about to say,
no. So, and then now, how about bad movies? So Liesl and I, for years and years and years, have taken great solace in a series of slapstick robots with a human called MST 3000. Have you ever seen this thing?
No.
Okay. MST 3K is a cult following fandom base that was started in like the 80s, 90s by this guy, Joel Hodgson, I think is his name. And he wanted to do like riffing on the worst movies ever made. And so he just
put it all together.
He and his comedy troupe, which were robots, he has them be robots, watch these just god awful movies.
Wow.
I mean, these are the worst fucking movies ever. I mean, these are movies that are so bad. Well, Transformers will probably be on there one day, but
nice.
But these movies are so bad that they've got like errors where people are forgetting lines and a mic drops in the middle of the. I mean, there's just craziness. Some are black and white because some of the 50s movies are just horrible. Ed Wood movies. But they riff on them. And so you end up watching these attempts at whatever the director and you can't believe that some of these it cost millions of dollars. Sometimes some of these crappy movies they had, but MST3K is one of these, you have to experience it. I'll lay one on you maybe tonight. You can check it out on your phone or whatever.
Okay.
It's the one that we watch every Christmas. It's called Santa versus the Devil.
Oh, wow. That reminds me of, what is it? A Sharknado?
This is at a whole nother level, man.
Wow.
Of just, it's a bad Mexican kids movie that was made in like the 60s. Oh my God.
I cannot wait to experience that, Eric.
And oh God. And what you want to listen for is their delivery of their comedic riffs, which are hilarious. You'll have to experience it. I'll send you the link and you can watch it. And it's just, that one has become a tradition in our family to watch every Christmas. And then it's taken off on Netflix. I've saw they have the MST3K Netflix whole marathons and stuff, and do the old Godzilla movies and do that. I'm glad to see Godzilla got the reboot.
Yes,
kind of deserves.
Yep.
It
whatever
it deserves.
Yes.
It, yeah. So, yeah. All right. So, well, maybe that'll be our call to action for this week.
Yes, call to action. Go watch more movies.
Watch?
E.T.
Oh my God, there's a great one, right?
I'm just saying. Hey, do you remember? By the way, I think this was actually on Disney Plus now. The Flight of the Navigator.
Flight of the Navigator, the very underrated movie for the
100%.
time. And, no lasers shoot 'em up anything.
No,
But just a very interesting take on what alien life could be, and
yeah,
very, very interesting. Yeah.
and very family friendly. I remember watching that as a kid, and I remember thinking, man, I wish I had a device that could do this.
Right? Yeah. No, and of course, there's all the zombie stuff too, and all that.
Oh,
jazz,
we're gonna have to talk about that.
And the Last of Us, right, has just come out and stuff. I'm gonna have to watch that
Yes.
whole series and whatnot, because that's a video game series. It's become another series as well.
Also taken after Resident Evil, same thing.
Another
video game series that became
Yep.
movie. Mila Jovovich is in it.
I'd love to see like Dead Space, because that was a great game to play. I played
Oh, I
Dead
never played
Space.
that, no.
Yeah, it's kind of like zombies and stuff, but in space. So
That's a perfect
zombies
mix right there.
in space.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Which, by the way, fun fact, I do want to just mention this. Did you know that Bill Paxton is the only actor, to my knowledge, that basically acted in both the Alien and the Predator universe?
let's see. He was in, right, I remember Aliens.
Correct?
Yep, where he's Hudson.
Hudson.
Of Hudson.
Hudson.
10 meters, man. What the hell? And then he was in Predator 2.
Precisely.
Oh my God, how do I know these
Precisely.
things? How do I know this? Yeah.
You're a sci-fi fan. That's how you know
I'm a
this.
sci-fi fan. I could, I kind of, that one was not as memorable to me. I remember some aspects. Was Danny Glover?
Yes.
Danny Glover was the hero in
Correct.
the
Yeah, he
second
was the
one.
protagonist. Yep.
It was a little bit clunkier. It was okay. I think it was okay.
Well,
But it introduced us to the idea that maybe there might be a crossover between the alien world or aliens and
because you
Predator.
see the skull.
You see
of
the skulls
alien at
in the back.
end.
Yeah,
Yep.
that one was like a first kind of crossover-ish kind of a thing.
And I have to say, I've always, like, ever since Lethal Weapon, I've been a huge Danny Glover
You
fan.
like Danny Glover?
So
Okay.
so watching him in Predator 2, I was ecstatic.
You still a Mel Gibson fan, or not so much anymore?
It's interesting. Want to know something fascinating about that?
Yeah.
So watching, Lethal Weapon as a kid, all I wanted to do is be a police officer.
Be a police officer.
All I wanted to do is be a police officer.
Shoot people.
Well, it's not that. It's so funny. It's the
Yeah.
adventure part.
Yeah.
Because that's what I think made that entire series so good.
But you
It's
don't
the
want to end up
adventure.
like RoboCop, though. You don't want to end up like
See,
in that, do you?
that was a series that I never got into.
Yeah.
You would think robots, police officers. No, that never really.
The movie was pretty good with Peter Weller, but then it branched into a series. Is that right, or something?
I mean, it was multiple movies.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
no.
Yeah.
No.
Uber violent and stuff like, but not campy like Starship Troopers. Remember that one, Starship Troopers?
Hey, oh boy! Now we've just unpacked
Michael Ironside again.
Oh, priceless, priceless.
Oh my God! Yeah, the movie that celebrates fascism, Starship Troopers.
Would you like to
know more?
Rebels
in fascism.
Would you like to know more?
Is it any wonder we are where we are right now, given our America's consumption of media?
Isn't it interesting too? Like, have you noticed the attire in the movie?
Yeah.
Have you noticed the how the attire is?
I have noticed.
Yeah.
Whatever is art becomes real, and vice versa. It influences art, imitates life, and vice versa. So,
Yeah.
all right.
Well-
Hey, so listen. If you've not done so already, like and subscribe to
It doesn't cost you anything. Just click one button.
the Prime Directive, and we appreciate all of the people that are watching. If you
you very
feel
much.
so inclined, you can become a Patreon as well, which we sincerely. That is quite a feeling to have somebody vote for you like that, or to just say,
I appreciate
what you do enough to
Yes.
give you a subscription.
Yes, and after
Much,
this
much
episode, that
appreciated.
person is probably going to be like, all right, never
Oh
mind.
God, I
Second
hope
thoughts.
not. No, but we sincerely appreciate the
Indeed.
patronage. And yeah, so the call to action this week is go out and watch some sci-fi and
Yes.
reflect on it, and good sci-fi. And if it's going to be bad sci-fi,
Make sure it's really bad.
MST3K it.
Yeah, there you go.
Go the MST3K route. Watch it through their eyes, and then try not to laugh the entire way through with all the jokes.
That's gonna be hard.
So it is. So
All right.
I'm Eric, and this is Admar. We're
Yes.
gonna sign off for the week.
Yep. Bye, everybody.
All right. Bye bye.
Arise through the maze. Join us on this path, let's ignite the blaze. So grab your headphones tight, let's go for a ride. With every spin and twist, we'll couldn't run and hide. The Prime Directive where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive. Politics and culture, oh what a blend. Join on the journey and let's set the trend. As we close the chapter, let us you're here. The Prime Directive's calling, so let's persevere. The Prime Directive where the laughter's alive. Society's reflections, let's help each other thrive. Politics and culture, oh